How you doing? So, is Iron Man Infamous the best champion of 2022? Question mark. So, keep in mind it's a question mark. I'm not saying he's the best champion of 2022. It's just an open discussion. You know, when I saw like a minute clip of him the first time I saw him, there was no basic there was no basic abilities, he had no synergies, just a few gameplay. And I made a prediction saying that he's going to be beyond OP with synergies. Okay, I was right on that part. But what I was wrong on is I didn't think he was beyond OP, okay, without synergies. So after seeing deep dive, I think he's beyond OP without synergies. So obviously, if he's beyond OP without synergies, he's gonna be beyond OP with synergies. So making that prediction wasn't really, like, to be fair, not that hard, considering that there are a lot of champions in the game that are OP with synergies. So so I, when I made like a prediction, I didn't think he was better than Doctor Doom or Omega Sentinel, and I was wrong on that. I'm not saying that he is better, and I actually thought about making this title Doom 2.0, but that's kind of implying that he's better than Doctor Doom, which I don't think. So I think he's kind of like it's hard to say which is better. So it's kind of like you choose who you want to play in the game, because it's really just like ranked number 1A and ranked number 1B. So it's pretty close that you can pretty much choose either one, who you like playing with. And I made a video saying who's the best champion in MCOC. It could be depending on your skill level as well as your mastery. So, you could be biased too. If you like playing with a certain champion, then you should be, if you like playing with Doom, whether it's Omega Sentinel, Iron Man Infamous, then you should be playing with them, because they all do things that are different that's really good in the game. So can't really say which one is better. They all do pretty good things in the game. It's not like comparing Michael Jordan to LeBron James, where Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time and LeBron James is like ranked number 5. So also it'd be like, it's not like saying MCOC is as good as Doom, or saying Psycho Man is as good as Omega Sentinel or Infamous Iron Man. If you think that, then you and I are playing a different game. So let's look at his champion attributes. Well, one thing for sure is Iron Man Infamous has high prestige. He actually has the highest prestige in the game, I believe. So expect his arena score to go really high. So before I check out the champion attributes, let's compare it to Doom. So hopefully you see that, and if you forget, I'll just tell you. So when it comes to survivability, I don't get how Doom and Iron Man Infamous have the same survivability. It doesn't make any sense. If Doom's survivability is a 4, then Iron Man Infamous should be a 5, or Doctor Doom should be a 3. Look at his survivability. Okay, it's one of his strengths. Look, not only does Iron Man Infamous have an armor rating higher than the original Doctor Doom, comparable critical resistance and immunity to both shock and incinerate, his signature ability takes its own spin on the classic Arc Overload by granting him a huge regeneration buff. It also passively special locks his opponent while the buff is active, meaning that you will be completely safe from your opponent's special attacks while the vital healing is taking place. So, see, that's why it doesn't make sense. I mean, I do agree that he's a 4. I would probably maybe say a 4.5. So it doesn't make sense how that Doom has the same survivability as this guy, considering he doesn't have regen when it comes to Doctor Doom. It's weird. Okay, now damage. I actually think his damage is probably at 3. I mean, I guess unless you're going up against Bishop, any champion that has prowess, that makes sense. That his damage is a 4, at least. When it comes to ease of use, see that one I don't get either. How come his ease of use is a 3 and Doom is a 4? With Doom, you have to know how to do the Doom cycle. With Iron Man Infamous, looking at deep dive, it doesn't seem like that hard to use. So, but it does say here, when it comes to special 3 control, Iron Man Infamous has easy access to power burn on both his heavy attack and his special one, as well as a few other places in the hands of a skilled player. It is nearly impossible for an opponent to get a chance to throw a special 3 even if their power bar turns red. So, I guess that's why it's a 3, because you do require a little bit of skill, but I don't think he's going to be like the hardest champion to use. So that's a good thing. Utility, as you can see here, is a 4, and Doom is a 5. Look at his utility. Let me just show you. Basic ability: power burn, special lock, shock, armor up, cowardice, prowess removal. You see all that? Yet his utility is a 4 and Doom is a 5. I mean, I'm not arguing that Doom's utility is a 5. Should be a 5, but why is he a 4? He should be a 5 too. So whoever created the champion attributes for Doom, they really like Doom. That's for sure. Defender strength, I do agree. Doom is 4.5 and he's at 3.5. So as you can see on the weakness, when it comes to weakness, armor break, nullify, unique buffs, shock immunity. So somebody like King Root, who has Ferment armor break, or like Angela, this is going to be an easy fight. Also unique buffs, emphasize unique buffs. Any champion with unique buffs will reduce his aura of iron. So like Angela is really great for that. And pretty much a lot of cosmic champions. So on defense, that's for defense. Strength. I made a video saying I actually made a video. I don't know, I might have to redo it. I haven't posted it yet, but what is the most important champion attributes in the game? It's survivability, damage, ease of use, utility. And it really depends, I guess. If you're looking at like if you can hit the opponent like one hit and you can KO them, then obviously it would be damage, right? I mean, it could be depends. It could be survivability. If you have somebody like Diablo, where you can pretty much never get KO, where you can just like use auto fight and like Realm of Legends or something like that, then that's that could be like the most important thing in the game. So I'll have a video on that. I don't know if I'm gonna redo it or not, but we'll have it soon. So I'm not gonna go through all the list and everything. I talk about strength and his prowess removal, survivability, weaknesses. What else can I talk about? Always active. So this is what's great about him. When Iron Man Infamous would land a critical hit, he instead inflicts an instant shock, dealing energy damage equal to the damage that the critical hit will dealt. So it's kind of like pretty much like Guardian. I like champions that don't crit. I mean, there are times when you need to be able to crit, but most of the time you don't want to be critting. So instead of critting, he's going to inflict an instant shock, which is really good. If an opponent would gain 2 or more prowess effect at once, those prowess are converted into a single indefinite energy vulnerability debuff that reduces their energy resistance by 900. Each subsequent debuff is 10% less potent than the previous one. They had to reduce it, obviously, because if you're fighting like against Bishop, it would be like Hawkeye pre-nerf, where it was physical resistance was reducing like 2,000, 40,000 or something like crazy like that. It would be nice because to have it not reduced, because or it just been lower, like maybe like 500 energy resistant, and it wasn't reduced or something. It's unfortunate. Assuming it does go, so I'm assuming it's the way it's supposed to work. So after like 10 vulnerability debuff, then any more after that, let's say you have 20, it's pretty much going to be the same as 10, because there's no, the potency is pretty much 0 at that point. So if my math is correct, after 10 vulnerability, that should be like 4950 energy resistant reduce, assuming if my math is correct. So basically, was it 900, and the next one will be 810. So I didn't calculate it that way, but what I did is figure out what's the sum of 1 to 10 or 10 to 1, which I remember being 55, and then you just multiply that by 900, which I feel like the easier way to do it. So that should be like 4950 energy resistant up to. So Iron Man Infamous crit replacement effects makes him excellent for dealing with mutants who trigger abilities when struck by critical hit. Also note that the subsequent reduction is based on the potency of the previous debuff, not the original potency, so this ability potency will never reach 0. Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's good. Okay. They should have read that part. Okay, armor up buff. Victor Von Doom modification to his Iron Man grant him extra protection. He starts the fight with indefinite armor up, granting 1400 armor rating. So this is great. He's going to be a great counter for Havoc. While he has this buff, he is immune to shock and incinerate. If this buff is lost, it restores itself after 12 seconds. This timer is paused while Iron Man Infamous is suffering for an armor break. So basic attacks. Iron Man Infamous medium attack does not make contact and inflict shock debuffs, dealing 252.7 energy damage over 2 seconds. I believe that should be a good thing for certain matchups. I think Korg, you don't want to be landing you don't want to make contact with Korg, I believe, as well as like Electro. So throwing your medium attack against those champions, medium is probably the way to go. While charging a heavy attack, if the opponent is within striking distance and suffering from shock, all their shock effects are consumed and replaced with a passive stun for 0.60 seconds. This cannot trigger during the opponent's attack. That's really good. And what else? The final hit of Iron Man. Infamous heavy attack inflicts a non-static cover dice debuff, reducing the opponent's special attack damage by 40% for 5 seconds, which is a lot of obviously a lot of mutants, which is great. No, it's not just mutants. It could be any champion, which is really good. Okay, when one of the more shocks are consumed by Iron Man Infamous abilities, it triggers Aura of Iron for 2.6 seconds. Each shock removed is not already active. The Doom Heavy is back, so it's pretty much like Doom style when you throw the heavy. I'm not going to go through everything. If you want to look at everything, you can go to Deep Dive. They do a good showcase showing about his abilities and how to use it. Wow, he has endless of longer than I was expecting. So yeah, I'm not gonna read through everything. You can go check out the Marvel Contest of Champion if you want to check it out. But he does have what's good about him. He does have what is this? Let's read it. Aura of Iron passive. The Aura of Iron can trigger while Iron Man Infamous does not have his personal armor up buff, and its duration is by 4 seconds for each unique non-prowess buff. So this is like his weakness when it comes to defense. If you have champions with lots of buff, on the opponent above 2. The aura is paused during both champions' special attack, while paused this way, landing a medium attack ends the aura early. Iron Man Infamous special attacks are passively unblockable, which is cool. What else? Each time he inflicts one of his personal shock, it is immediately replaced by an instant energy power burn. So that's one of his best strengths, is to inflict power burn on the opponent. A percentage of the opponent current power based on the potency of the replaced shock deals 452.86 energy damage to the opponent's percent of max power burn. Iron Man Infamous becomes passively unstoppable and stun immune against the last hit of incoming Special 1 and Special 2 and heavy attacks. In addition, if the damage of the hit exceeds 5% of his maximum health, he gains a regeneration buff, restoring the excess damage over 5 seconds. So this is pretty much like Dr. Doom, except it's better because he gets a regeneration buff. And then you could also get Recovery Mastery, I believe that's what it's called. That's going to increase your regen. So wow, that's what makes him, I think that's really good for him. Special 1, so basically Special 1 you can Activate Aura of Iron. If it's already active, then what else? If it was already active, the opponent passively special lock. So it becomes special lock the opponent if it's already active. Special 2. After the first hit of this attack, Lion Iron Man Infamous gains 631.75. This is the stat is based on the 5-star rank 5. Each power the opponent feels bar power, the remainder of the attack. So this is really good. You want to make sure that the opponent is actually close to 3 bars of power when you want to throw the special 2, because that's the most when he's going to get the most damage from. Each beam will hit inflicts a shock debuff, dealing 2,779.7 energy damage over 5 seconds. That is quite pretty decent. So comes to special 3, Route of Von Doom. So this is probably more for longer fights. Enter Aura of Iron for 24 seconds. So you want to start with his special 3. This aura cannot be ended early until it next expires. Iron Man Infamous has 2100 critical rating for each of the opponent's build power. If Aura of Iron Man is already active, both Iron Man Infamous and his opponent get an arena passive, increasing the combat rate by 100% each lasting Aura of Iron next expires. So let's just go straight to the signature ability. Once per fight, when Iron Man Infamous health drops below 15%, he gains a regeneration buff, healing 35% of his maximum health over 10 seconds. While this effect is active, the opponent is passively special locked. That is so good, especially if you're like casual player, beginner who often gets knocked out a lot, like me. You can make use of those 20% revives. Man, that is so good. While Aura of Iron is active, the opponent suffers 100% flat reduced blockable ability accuracy. So that's nice too. From a SIG, you can be able to block unblockable attacks, which is amazing. While his Prussian armor bar is active, he also gains 900 block efficiency and energy resistance. So that's really good as well. So his signature ability is really useful. Mostly, obviously, I think for defense, looks like, but it's gonna be useful, that's for sure. I said he has OP synergies. Not, when it comes to synergies, it's could be better, but it's pretty good. When it comes to Iron Man, while fighting villains, he gains 460 critical rating, damage rating for each knockout team member. So if you have 4 knockout team member, you're gonna, what's that? Is that 1840? Critical damage rating, but keep in mind this is only against villains, so that is pretty good damage rating right there. With Dr. Doom as a 4-star, I'm probably gonna grind for him, but since you only really need a 4-star, I would probably just, for a lot of his synergies, I might just grind for the 4-star. I don't think I'll just have the patience or the willing to commit to grinding for the 5-star. Personally, I would rather spend $50 for the 5-star if you can buy it in a unit store than grind for like 12 hours in the arena or something like that. Hero Champions plus 8% attack rating with Dr. Doom. Rubber Champions plus 20% ability accuracy. So his Doom is not as, it's decent. It's not great, but it's decent. It's what is this? Okay, with Iron Man Infinity War, this is also not great, but it's okay. I mean, actually, it's not great at all. Just call it what it is. Increase the potency of the team's armor effects by 10% for each synergy member. Okay, each synergy member. So it could make a bigger difference if you have all of them in your team. That's like 50% extra armor up. But I don't think you want all of them in your team, so they just say you definitely want War Machine in your team because he has that free fight ability, which I also think is underrated. That's why I think he's gonna be OP with synergy, because he's tech and War Machine has that really underrated free fight ability which you could use. That's why I think he's gonna be good with synergies. Trust issue, you need a 2-star. Iron Man Infamous gains 4,900 critical rating while the opponent has 2 bars of power, which is really good. When it comes to Thing, it's great for him because he'll be able to get his Fury up faster. Human Torch, that's going to be great for defense. When struck, increase the fire by a flat 10%, 100%. So basically, he's going to have like 2 incinerates when he gets struck or something like that instead of 1. or something like that. Mr. Fantastic infusing the opponent's soul at the start of the fight, reducing the chance to activate buffs by 100% for 15 seconds. That is really good for Mr. Fantastic. So having infamous Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic on the team is really good. Not only, obviously, you can also have access to Mr. Fantastic's free fight ability. So that's why I said he's going to be OP with synergy, because Mr. Fantastic pre-fight, what is that? Is that pre-fight ability? Is what it's called, or something like that. It's also another underrated thing to have in the game. I mean, and he has his attack, so he can also has access to War Machine pre-fight ability. So that's why I think he's gonna be OP with synergy. So with Doctor Strange, this just seems like an OP for Doctor Strange. So with this synergy, who knows? He might not even get a buff. Doctor Strange heavy attack refresh all existing blessing, and all effects of special one are increased by a flat 100% for each active blessing. That seems really OP. I don't expect it to be like Doctor Scarlet Witch pre-nerf with Quicksilver synergy, but I think it's going to be pretty OP for Doctor Strange, which, well, what I'm afraid of, he might not get a buff after with that synergy. Iron Man Infamous cowardice effects on the opponent are 50% more potent. That's helpful too. So here, the only thing that requires a 5-star is with Penny Parker. It's definitely pretty powerful, but I don't even think I have a Penny Parker in my definitely not the 5 or 6-star, that's for sure. So synergy champions, whenever one of either champion's personal shocks or incident are prevented by immunity, then play corresponding incident or shock effectively. This increase still count as shocks for the purpose of the Iron Man Infinite abilities. That's really good. Like if some opponent is shock immune, you can inflict incinerate on them. If they're incinerate immune, you can inflict shock on them. The only one that's not that are both is, I believe, what's his name? Icarus, I believe this was his name, and obviously infamous Iron Man. So yeah, so that's not many people can counter him in the game. Just those two basically. If you have this synergy with Mephisto, Iron Man. Whenever Iron Man inflicts immune to an effect, he deals the opponent with a burst energy damage equal to 200% of this attack rating. Each subsequent disability triggers the opponent's reduced by 200. This is unfortunate, so that it keeps reducing. So after, I believe, this time, if it's like 10 times it happens, when you trigger it, it's gonna go away. There's no more potency, no more energy damage. I really would have preferred it to be 100%, and then keep it the whole fight. In long fights, this almost becomes useless when it comes to that synergy. Mephisto duration of soul imprisonment is double. That's really good for Mephisto. Recommended mastery, courage. While normally not a great idea to play, less than half HP. Iron Man Infamous Iron Man crit resistant regeneration from his signature make it much safer to have your health bar this low. So because it's regeneration, you can fight at lower health. So that's why you can use those 20% rebuffs. Really useful. Stand your ground, okay. While Iron Man Influence block is usually pretty safe, thanks to the signature ability, this master takes it to the next level by allowing to resist knockdowns even when his Aura of Iron is not active. That's also good to have. So what do you guys think of Iron Man Infamous? I think he's going to be a really good champion. Could he be the best champion of 2022 so far? This remains to be seen. What do you guys think of Iron Man Infamous? Thank you.